So AI is threatening jobs left and right, and not just, what some would consider, low entry level positions. Corporations are cutting positions at alarming rates. I think just this week, about what, 160,000 corporate cuts were announced across major corporations. And we hear it, we see it. In fact, some of us are it. We are the ones who were cut, or someone or someone within your circle. When you hear these headlines, or when you're living through these headlines as a first generation high earner, you get your backup. You're suddenly very, very concerned that your vehicle to wealth, your job, is now being threatened by some nameless, faceless machine that's going to come in and do your job. Now, this is not a podcast episode where we're going to talk about, the strategies to maintain your job in the age of AI. That's a different conversation. What I need to talk about today is, how do you, as a first generation high earner, navigate this world of artificial intelligence, of highly efficient computerized systems coming in and threatening to do the work that you've been doing so well at a C-suite level to some degree. And you need to find a way to be well. You need to find a way to safeguard your income generation engine. Here's the thing that many of us don't realize. The headlines are alarming, and yes, it's pushing all of your survival instinct buttons. But there is an elite group of leaders in corporate circles who are not threatened by corporate announcements of layoffs, audits, fine tuning, creating efficiencies. There's that elite group that has transcended the high earning hustle mentality, and who are becoming those architects, the ones who are actually intentionally deploying their finances so that the headlines don't freak them out, so that the job title is not their source of security. There is this elite group of leaders who are completely operating on a different timeline, a timeline that they have created for themselves with intention. And as a result, they have safeguarded their sovereignty. As a first generation high earner, this level of success might be new to you. This level of earning might be new to you. But let me just assure you that as you're reading the headlines, as you're navigating this season, understand that your task isn't just surviving the next round of cuts. Your task is not getting through this quarter or this year. Your task as a first generation high earner is stepping into your identity as a wealth trailblazer, as a wealth ancestor, as the one in your family who changes things from just hustle, hustle, make money, to wealth architecture with intention, purpose, and generational impact. So, how do you do that? How do you do this? Because no one's been around to show you. There's nobody who gave you a blueprint. There's nobody within your peer group. There's nobody within your family. And by golly, there aren't many. I'll not say that there are none, but there aren't many. They're certainly very hard to come by, who have had this experience and would be willing to mentor us through our being with money. So how do you do that? First, I'll invite you to understand what you're feeling. I keep saying this and I harp on it time and time again. We are feeling machines who think. We justify what we're feeling with logic, but we lead with what we're feeling. So understand what you're feeling. You've read the headlines. You got the memo coming out of HR. You see the reality of a changing corporate environment. What are you feeling? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling anxiety? Are you suddenly in a space where you're not sleeping well? You're having, minor or maybe major panic attacks, and you are worried. If that's what you're feeling, understand it, acknowledge it, and understand it, because what you're feeling is going to be the foundation from which you start doing, the foundation from which you start taking action. The truth is, the headlines are real. And whether it's your job or someone else's, the environment, the corporate environment is definitely pivoting at an alarming rate towards efficient AI systems to do a lot of the tasks that we do day to day. Yes, I agree 100%. However, what you're feeling should not register in your body, in your mind or heart as an existential threat to you. Fear and anxiety are horrible foundations to build on, but that may be what you're feeling. So once you understand what you're feeling, you now have the opportunity to say, okay, I'm feeling fear and anxiety around the recent headline. Is my role at risk of being, becoming obsolete? Am I now to be afraid, right? Am I now to worry day and night? If that's what you're feeling, you need to address that feeling, because you are not your job title. You are not the position that you've been given. In fact, the same skills, ingenuity, and creativity that you deployed to get to where you are the same skills, ingenuity, and resiliency and creativity that you still have, because they're within you, and that can move you through any changes, pivots, audits, or whatever that will come your way. Trust who you are, not your title, not the HR contract. Trust what has gotten you here to move you through to that next level. And yes, I know what brought you here is not going to take you there, but that's on a different level. You have the raw material that will take you to where you're going. So talk back to the fear, talk back to the anxiety, talk back to the worry, telling yourself, reminding yourself that you have what it takes to weather, in fact, not just weather, but to thrive through any changes that are coming down the pike for you from a corporate level. That's the first thing. Understand what you're feeling, talk back to the negative feelings, and from that point, we start to do. Once we know who we are, then we start to take actions from a foundation that is now positively bent, and it's set to create things for you, not just to react. The second thing that I would say is work on transitioning your identity. Transition that identity from reactivity to response. We want to stop being a reactive employee, because here's the truth, guys. No matter what level you're in, you might be in the C-suite. As long as someone else is in charge of whether you work or don't work, whether you're hired or fired, you will be at someone else's mercy. No matter how good a job you're doing, especially in this day and age of cancel culture, for any reason, you may be out of a job. So we need to start transitioning our identity away from the job titles, and also away from this reactionary posture of an employee to being a proactive wealth architect, establishing an enduring lineage. Our identity cannot be rooted in the next job. Our identity cannot be rooted in our capacity to get a raise. What your task is in refining that identity is now seeing yourself as opposed to the person who just accumulates money, puts money away in some checking account somewhere. So, yeah, I have money. Now you have to evolve into the one who understands that you are setting up for the next generation. If our next generation has to hustle the same way we do, we have done it wrong. If the next generation has to have the same issues that we're having, we have done it wrong. Let's start by fine tuning the vision that's in your head and heart. First, you're going to reset that identity. You're not just a hustler. You're not just a high earner. You are a wealth architect. Fine tune in your head. What is the vision that you have for your life and for the generations to come? That vision, it's in your head, it's in your heart. The vision is going to be limited by your ability to find the help that you need. I see so many of us trying to do all the things ourselves because, well, we don't trust the other person, or we're the only one who can do it the best, or, I don't understand these things and I have to do it, so I don't understand it. It's not getting done. No, the vision is your job. The passion is your job. The determination is your job. Now that you have transitioned from this high earner accumulator to being the architect, the designer, the visionary, now you need to bring in the support systems to help you build it. I keep saying this. Well, my husband's a contractor, and it's his job to bring in the trades that are going to do the building. He works with the architects, and he's the one who brings the people in. He's the one who's in charge of ensuring that it's built to the level and to the quality that it requires, that it meets the specs and all that. The architect is not in there putting brick and mortar or putting up a drywall. The architect is not in there running plumbing lines or electrical wires. The architect is the one in charge to ensure that the vision comes to life. You are the architect. You need to bring in the people who are going to bring that vision to life. In your world of wealth architecture, that support system looks like bringing the lawyers, bringing in the portfolio managers and investment advisors, bringing in the tax planners, and I'm not going to let this slide, bringing in the therapists, bringing in the fitness coaches, the massage therapists, bringing in me, the wealth and behavioral strategists, bringing in the support you need so that you are well and you can maintain the vision, you can maintain the passion, you can keep building. Your job is not in the minutiae of all of this doing. Your job is in the vision, the passion, the intention, the purpose. That's your job. Get it. Don't lose it. Don't lose sight of it. Make sure it is there intact and ready to deploy the resources as necessary. You're not the one doing the building. You're the one directing the building. And third, final, put that structure in place. Now that you have the army of support and resources available to you, you need to put the structure in place so that the architecture actually works and the generations that come after you are positively impacted. What does that look like? It looks like creating trust. It looks like having conversations with your family around governance and expectations and understanding what's there. It looks like sitting down and explaining why you're doing what you're doing. It looks like getting buy-in from those who will benefit from the structures that you've put in place. It also calls for listening, because what you think might be the best way may not be the best way because of those who will use after you. It looks like multi-generational impact vehicles, policies that are going to take care of those around you, whether you're there or not, as time goes by. We need to create structures that will take care of us and those around us, and those structures need to operate with or without the corporate employment systems. That is not to say you're going to quit your job. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're creating structures that are going to shore you up, hold you together, maintain the vision, maintain the passion with or without the corporate title. These structures are going to insulate your wealth across generations. So the headlines no longer need to freak you out. The headlines no longer need to send you into a panic. Corporate decisions no longer need to give you reasons to jump off the highest bridge. We need to set ourselves up in such a way that we can endure beyond the headlines. And I get it. You're the first. You are new to this and it may seem overwhelming, but remember your job. Your job is the vision, the passion, the intention. Get the people on board to support you and do the building and setting that infrastructure in place. So, in my world, this experience sits within the evolution pillar of my unique care methodology. And it is the space where you resolve a whole lot of conflict. And a lot of this one is rooted in the imposter earner mindset that you will no longer be able to earn, that you don't fit, you're a misfit, that your capacity to earn is being challenged. And when working with clients who are in that space, we get to challenge that imposter earner. We get to say, yeah, not today. This is the truth, not what you're feeding, whispering into my ear. We get to move from hoarding cash because we think because we have cash sitting there, we're safe. Although inflation is eroding the power of our money and it's not making any money for us. We need to move from that defensive cash position and start establishing frameworks and vehicles that are going to grow our money without us having to work more for it. We need to secure your place as the first wealth ancestor in a line of intentional wealth ancestors that come down through you. It needs to start somewhere, and you can be the one who starts the change that moves your family, that moves multiple generations away from the idea of being identified by how much money you can make to being identified by how intentionally and purposefully you can use your money to create positive impact. Well, it really is time for you to adjust your perspective about all of these headlines, all of these layoff metrics. It's time for you to adjust your financial attitude because you have reached a very, very pivotal financial altitude. It's time for you to heal. It's time for you to heal that first generation friction and to build a unshakable confidence, to set up your lineage to do the new thing, to do it well, to embody it, to experience it in a way that is new and wholesome, rich and full. So if that is you, please apply for a private fit assessment for the Catalyst Signature Partnership at my website, hadrianaleo.com. Let's build you a legacy that stands as your unique and unapologetic signature. The next generation is waiting, and you will be really, really happy to know that you have positively impacted generations to come because of your decision to be well with wealth. Take care now until next time.